Welcome to this episode of my journey in trying to understand the death of my oldest son, Temidayo Olutobi, who died on the 22nd of September 2023. So I woke up the next day, picked up my wife at her mother's place, and the emotions were indescribable. I cannot describe it because here she was, lost her dad 2 months earlier, and now loses a stepson. My son works, or used to work. I have to get used to talking about him in the past tense now. Used to work with people with physical and mental disabilities. And sometimes he works in shifts. So I thought maybe he was working in the night and he was driving back home. And that was what happened. But the place where the accident occurred was not along his way to work or his way to his house. So that brought a lot of questions on itself. Like, what was he doing there? Has he been engaged in some criminal activities that nobody knew? Was he addicted to something? Did he fall asleep? I'm just asking myself a million questions. And then I also remembered when he was young, around the age of 2.5, he developed epilepsy. Since he's been an adult, nothing of that sort has ever happened. So my thought was, was he driving and then he had an epileptic attack and then lost control and just smashed his car somewhere? Questions, and we were trying to console each other. Then we got to the grandma place because that was where we all agreed to meet, to his grandma's place. And it was just devastating seeing everyone sitting there, knowing we came for the same purpose, which was the death of my son. And his best friend, Michael, was also there. And we are sitting there talking about how, why, and all of that. And then its mother goes out, comes back, hands me a letter. And I'm looking at her like, what is this? Because I did not open it yet. It did not occur to me to open it. So she says, that's the note he left for you. And I'm like, what? Because the realization came to my head, dawned on me, like, what? He left a note. So this was not an accident. It was suicide. And I just sank, ran out of the room and cried and cried and cried my eyes out. Why would a son of mine, why would Temidayo that? Why? What kind of problems was he having? We speak. Last year he told me, he moved to his new place, and when you move to a new place here, then you are going to have to pay all your bills yourself and all of that stuff. And he told me last year it was difficult, when you are single and not with a partner, paying all the bills alone. It's always a challenge. Before then, he used to live in a place where two of them, he and another guy, were living, so they could share the rent. But now he goes to live on his own, and he could not have, at the beginning, at least that was what he told me, it was difficult for him making ends meet. So when he told me that, in the ways that I could help, I did. Every time I always was checking on him, because I always thought we were open with each other, and he was open about his financial challenges. So, and that was till the end of last year. This year, I kept asking him, how is it? And he said to me, no, now he's been able to fix everything and he's okay. So he did not need my financial help anymore. So why else would Dayo do that? Why else would he not speak with me, speak with his mom, so that we know what is happening around him, in his head, and in his life that way? And after all the waters in my body went dry, then I read the note. It was a handwritten 1.5-page note he left for me. Apparently he wrote one for his mother, wrote one for his best friend, and wrote one generally. And reading the letter he wrote, then he talks about being depressed. Already when he was just getting out of, at the end of his teenage years and at the beginning of his 20s. But I never knew that, because we lived so far apart. But he never told me, even though later in life we became, at least as far as I'm concerned, close. I thought we could talk about everything, but he never, ever told me he has suffered bouts of depression in his youth. And he said it was too much for him, and he could not take the injustices in the world and a lot of other things. I know he always struggled with injustices. We've spoken about that, and in a way that even has brought us very close with each other, because we were always, almost always on the same page. We could both sit down and analyze things, and then we both come to the same conclusion. And that was always therapeutic, because it was, for me, nice to know he was sharing things, but I never knew he was just sharing, in comparison, superficial things with me. So I'm asking the mother, did you know anything about this? Yeah, she knew, of course, because he was still living with the mother at that time. The mother knew about that, but he went to therapy. Everything seemed okay. And yeah, in the In the suicide note, he also wrote that everything was okay until Corona came. Because of the total lockdown, everything that he had before just came back. Everything in terms of depression that he's gone through just came back, and there was a feeling of hopelessness, helplessness, and feeling like you are a prisoner in your own house. What I'm reading more and more is that Corona may have been declared conquered or pacified. There are still a lot of people suffering from post-corona traumatic stress. I can tell you, in the corona period, I went into a dark tunnel myself. But I quickly retracted my steps and came out of that, also thanks to people around me. But apparently he went into that dark tunnel again, and the only thing he ever did after that was see no light and walk in dark tunnel. And now he has decided there was no way out anymore. He said how sorry he was, how much he loved me, loved his brother, loved his stepmother. But that was the end. There are no tears left anymore. But the feeling of helplessness, that your son never once said that I'm in this kind of situation, can we talk about it? He works with people who need help. He gives help to people. It's the line of work that I do also on a part-time basis. All my friends, at least people around me, I am the go-to person for people who want to talk about their emotions, who feel like, okay, I can talk with Femi without judgment, without him judging me. He can listen and we can find solutions to things. That's what I've been doing all my adult life. But somehow my own child did not have enough in him, or did not see enough in me to be able to share his deepest fear. Depression. The silent killer. The voice that tells you, go into the dark, stay in the dark, and face whatever is going to come to you alone. Because 2 months earlier, he was here in my house. We had fun. We spent a lot of time together like we always did. My friends were here. One of my friends spoke with him for the first time since a long time. They live close to each other. After that long talk, that friend came to me and said, wow, you've actually raised a really great kid. That he's mature, he's intelligent, and he's just yeah, a model kid. And even he himself said to me, I had a nice talk with Frank, and it was nice, and we are making, we're gonna meet soon again, because he lives like 10 minutes away from where I live, and they were gonna meet again and just continue their discussions. But it was not meant to be, because even when he was here, you don't see anything. That is the thing with people with this depression. They are also great actors. You have a smile on your face which becomes a mask. And to think that my own child will take his own life in this manner is something that is really hard to comprehend, something that is really hard to take. You woke up and you decide, tonight is when I'm going to take control of my life and end it. You sit down, you write notes out of love for the people you are leaving behind. You write the note, you pick your car key, put on your jacket, get out of your house, go into that car knowing you are no longer coming back. You drive, you accelerate 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, maybe 200, knowing you are going to use your car as a missile to end your life. That takes a lot of courage. There must have been a deeper darkness in his head, in his life, that he thought that was the only way. And he said something very poignant in his suicide note, that he had been thinking about this for 1 year to end it. And that the reason he did not do it in July was because I had invited him over for that day when he was here with all my friends, and he didn't want to have that on his conscience, do that to me. And that was why he waited until then. And then after that, he went to a Formula One race with his friend in August, where we were also communicating with each other. He went to Sanford, and the race, because of rain, was stopped, and he could not get information where he was, and he was contacting me from there, like, Dad, do you know when the race is going to resume? So he had it in his head the whole time, and he was just here eating African food, which he always enjoys, smiling, laughing, brought flowers. I think he was going to kill himself, and he did not think he was going to discuss his inner demons with me. I would be selfish to take that away from him, because he must have made his own decision, but it hurts. It hurts that my own son could not come to me, did not find a safe haven, did not feel safe enough to do that. But I'm forever thankful for that last note he wrote. Forever grateful that he was able to express, at least in that last moment, what he was feeling. How I wished I I knew this earlier. How I wish he confided in me, confided in his mother, because he was with his mother on the Tuesday before he died. He went to eat at his mother's place, and he was saying to his mom, "I'll see you next week," knowing he was not going to see his mother next week. Depression. Eating into the soul of innocent people. No, I am not gonna cry. I have no tears left. But I salute you, my boy. I salute you. I'm sure in a lot of ways I must have failed you. I know in many ways I actually did, and I know when and how. But I know we also spoke about that when both of us traveled to Zanzibar. His mother has already seen and identified him, and I had to go to the mortuary to check him. And you go into the room where his remains are laid, and you go there. In my case, I went with his best friend, and I see the marks on his face, the accident marks. He must have driven at very high speed. The undertaker already warned us, like, he's been covered from the stomach down because his whole legs and everything have been really, really crushed. So please don't go there. But I could see my son looking like he was sleeping. He still had the accident marks on his face, but still, and he was just lying there. Big, gentle giant that was Dio. Touched him, kissed him, meditated, said a few words, said a couple of byes, knowing that was definite evidence that he was never going to stand up. He was never going to say, "Papa, how are you today?" And that was tough. And then the planning began for his funeral. If you feel after listening to this that you need help, that you're in a dark place, there are organizations around. There are friends or people around you you might not be seeing, but those people are there. Reach out to them. Life is tough. European life is even more tougher. Having grown up in Africa, I can say with 100% conviction and confidence that European life is tougher. Sometimes you feel like you are alone. The whole system is also geared to separating human beings from each other, even though human beings are supposed to cohabitate. So you feel alone, you think you are the only person in the world. You go into that dark tunnel and you cannot come out. But please reach out to anybody. Just talk to somebody. Seek help. And help does not always have to be something you pay for. Let's learn to see people around us. When I see you, you probably will see me, because I'm acknowledging you, that you are human, that you are not just another object that walks past. So let's see each other. Let's acknowledge the existence of each other. Thank you for listening or watching this.